Today is the 26th of January, and from the look of it, the sun is shining brightly and the outside temperature is about 9 or 10 degrees centigrade. But we've had extremes of weather in this country. The UK is a very small country, but because it's on the edge of the Atlantic, we get the storms from the America coming, and yesterday and the day before up in Scotland and Ireland they had 110 mile per hour storms. And we were lucky to escape. We didn't have anything. Although it seems almost like summer with all this bright sunshine, we've had some very cold days as well. 10 days or 2 weeks ago, we had temperatures at night of -6, -7 for about 2 or 3 nights, and everything was frozen solid. Things have thawed now, and I'm walking in this lovely sunshine. I'm also now going to take you into my own conservatory, because this is where I keep the ficuses. At this time of the year in the winter, a lot of people struggle with ficuses, and although I've done videos about the ficus before, it doesn't hurt to repeat some of the things I have told you about. So I'm going to walk in that conservatory and show you what is going on there. This is my conservatory. It's attached to my house, and in the UK a lot of people have these sunrooms or conservatories where they enjoy the sunshine, and I've had this replaced because the polycarbonate roof got damaged by that hailstorm which we had back in September. If you remember, we had hailstones about 1/2 inch or more in size, so it damaged the roof, so I've had to replace with a new glass roof conservatory. This is where all my tender plants are kept in the winter. So my ficuses and carmonas are kept in here. I can't afford to heat our greenhouse, which is huge. The greenhouse at the back is about 60 or 70 foot wide and about 120 foot long. And to heat that would be extremely expensive. This conservatory is about 40 foot long and about 10 foot wide. So I can afford to heat this one, but nevertheless, it's still expensive. These ficuses, because they're tropical plants, ideally should not go below, I would say, 5 or 6 degrees centigrade. It can stand the odd touch of frost, but I think it is risking it. So for that reason, I bring them in here where I can afford to heat this environment and keep them in good condition. What is very confusing for a lot of people who grow ficuses is that not all ficus behave in the same way. As I told you, we are almost at the end of January, so we've had November, December, January, almost 3 months of winter. And in the 3 months, some of the ficus have been doing funny things. Look at this one. It is almost yellow. Look at it. Look at the leaves. Look at the leaves there. And these are the leaves that have fallen. And as you can see, the temperature in here is 22.3 degrees centigrade. And these are the leaves that fall from the ficus. However, I can't generalize too much. We have here, I would say, about 12 or 14 very large ficus. These ficus are about 1.2 meter wide and about 1.1 meter tall. They're huge ones. And they've got beautiful nebari, beautiful trunks, and they are kept in here. What I would like to show you here is that not all the trees behave in the same way. This tree is shedding leaves, but it's not shedding that much. This one is a slightly different variety. I can't remember what variety this is. It's got tighter foliage, and this is completely green. That is also a retusa, and that one is deep green. It hasn't shed any leaves. This one is more yellow and it's beginning to shed. They're all fed in the same way. These we've just brought in from the front greenhouse where it does get quite cold. And these haven't shed very much. Look at these ones, for instance. They've shed a lot of leaves. And this one, which a customer brought back, it's almost completely denuded of foliage. And it's in a very bad way. But it's not dead. If you look closely, the tips are green. That's how you tell that the tree is not dead. If you scratch the bark, it should be okay. I'm not sure about some of the branches. So the branches may have suffered, but there's still a bit of life in that. Also, my cuttings are doing extremely well. So these ones are also very green. But this large one, again, a lot of yellow leaves on that one. And that one there has almost lost about 60% or 70% of its foliage. It's all lying there. So I can imagine how confusing this must be to a person who has just one ficus. If you have one ficus, you can't generalize, but I hope it puts your mind at rest when I tell you that we have ficuses that do shed in the winter. From my experience of visiting India and other tropical countries, I went to Taiwan about 13 months ago, and over there we saw lots of ficus, and there it doesn't get very cold, but even those ficus, they do shed their leaves. And in India, where I'm more familiar with the plants there are many varieties of ficus, 10 or more different varieties. There's Pilkan, and all sorts of different varieties, not just the ordinary Benjamina and tiger bark. There's so many different varieties, and they all behave in different ways. So the message I'm trying to pass on to you is that if you see the yellowing of leaves on a ficus like that, do not panic. Do not panic at all. I will follow the progress through of these trees and show you what happens in the spring. What you should look for are the good signs. If you look at this tree, look at all these new shoots. I know I'm going to prune some of these, but this one is full of new shoots ready and bursting to come into leaf next spring. So I know that this tree is doing well. The ones that have not shed, I'm not too worried about, and they might also start shedding leaves. This one, for instance, is completely green. There's not a single yellow leaf in sight. So why it should behave in this way perplexes me. And because we don't claim to know everything, the way to find out is to just keep experimenting. Look, I'm just shaking the tree. Look at the yellow leaves that have fallen. And if I can remind people, in some countries where they exhibit ficus, they show them completely stripped of leaves, like the maple trees and other deciduous trees in temperate climates. They strip all the leaves. Certainly in China and Taiwan, I've seen them denude a ficus or leaf prune the ficus before it's put on exhibition. So don't be afraid when you see ficus losing their leaves. I've also reminded people that another difficult indoor bonsai is the Carmona. This is Carmona. We buy these in from other dealers, and of course they come from China. And in China, they are a very popular hedging plant, and they grow ever so well and extremely suitable as bonsai, and in the West they're sold as indoor bonsai. I had about a dozen of these trees. Some of them are doing well, and I don't hide anything. Some of them have suffered badly. Like this one is suffering very badly. It seems to have dried out or seems to have caught the cold. So I don't know why these are behaving in this way. So if you are growing Carmona, do be careful. I have always warned people that of all the so-called indoor subjects for bonsai, Carmona and Cerisa are perhaps the two most difficult species to grow as indoor bonsai in temperate climates. So here we are in my conservatory showing you the state of the ficus, and I hope that this will give you some reassurance that you should not be worried if ficus lose their leaves. It is perfectly natural for this to occur. So Keep them well watered. Make sure they are not completely dry. The worst thing you can do is to let it dry out completely. Although this looks a bit dry, it's due for watering. So keep your chin up and don't panic when you see yellow leaves on your ficus. So this is the message I pass on to you, and I hope you enjoy your bonsai. If you have any difficulties or problems and you live in the UK or live near the nursery, please come to Herons. We will try and resolve all your doubts and problems and issues to do with indoor bonsai and especially the ficus. So I hope you found this fairly helpful.